And that straggler question is about Connor Zilisch and his confidence. Because I don't understand. I mean, I guess I kind of get it. He's not getting the best finishes right now, but in my opinion, he doesn't have the right people in his corner right now. That's just, there's no reason he should be. Because I heard him in that interview and he was like, oh, I guess I can still do it. I guess I can still win. I'm like, what? And I saw him make comments on Sirius XM radio that was also very similar as well. And I'm like, what? Does Connor Zilisch know who he is? I don't know if he knows who he is right now. This is like if Kyle Larson came out right now and was like, man, I don't know if I can do it because he hasn't won a Cup Series race in a year. It's like, oh, I don't know. I might suck now. I don't know. Like, that's like the equivalent of that. I don't really, I mean, I guess I get it, but it worries me. It worries me quite a bit. And if anybody listened to this week's edition of Car on the Hauler, I kind of went into a whole spiel on how I'm really worried about it because we've seen it with many drivers over the years. Once they lose their confidence, they end up just really sucking. Like, I think Bubba Wallace is one of the prime examples. And one of the reasons why you see Bubba Wallace have a lot more success now is because he doesn't get so into his head. He doesn't play all those scenarios in his head and thinks he sucks and this and that. He thinks he's a really good driver now. But at one point, especially early on in his Cup Series career, if Bubba Wallace would put 2 or 3 bad races together, I would expect him to suck ass for the next like 3 or 4 months until he gets out of that hole that he's in. And it's just, I'm very worried about Zilisch, him going into that sort of hole where if he doesn't win races and he's not competing for wins, he's just all of a sudden going to be so down on himself and maybe he never reaches his potential. Like that, I think that's a legitimate possibility. And I feel like that's why so many drivers over the years have ended up being busts in our sport because they were built up so high. And then when they get to the Cup Series, they struggle and they fizzle out. Like Reed Sorensen's a great example. J.J. Yaley, great example. Casey Mears, great example. Ty Gibbs, up until this season, a great example. You know, we see these young drivers come up through the ranks so fast, and once they begin to struggle and they're not winning, a lot of them end up being really down on themselves. And I just really feel like Zilisch needs to have the right people in his corner because there's no reason he should be so down on himself right now. Like Trackhouse is struggling as a whole right now. He should be looking at what the other drivers are doing. Or is Chastain out there competing for wins? Fuck no. Chastain's barely competing for top 10s. Shane Van Gisbergen, he's barely competing for top 15s. He's been in the Cup Series for over a year now. And Zilisch, he's around 20th to 25th when it comes to speed. At times closer to 30th. But he has no experience in these cars. He's also not racing for a Hendrick or for a Penske, or for a Gibbs, or even a 2311 at this point. So I don't think Zilisch should be so hard on himself, but I really want the Pacecar boys' thoughts on this. I'll start with Tyler, because Tyler kind of went into his thoughts already on it a little bit, but he can flesh them out a little bit more at this point. Tyler, you've been watching NASCAR your whole life like I have. We've seen these drivers that have so much confidence coming into the Cup Series, and then they end up fizzling out and don't end up becoming. I think your driver, the driver you have in your hat right now, Noah Gregson's kind of dealing with that as well. He's a name I forgot to mention as well, and he actually ran pretty good on Sunday. He should be happy about the way he ran. But Tyler, how are we feeling about Zilisch?
And it's disappointing. We keep having all of these arguments and all these fights about not having personalities in NASCAR. We get amazing personalities like Noah, like Connor, that should be put in the best equipment possible in NASCAR for the mere fact of our sport. Nothing else. Nothing else should matter than the fact of our sport should have the best people and the best equipment. And they're the best people. They're the biggest personalities. They have the best fan following. They have it all. When you go to the track and you're there in person, when you're actually meeting these drivers, when you actually get to interact with them, it's very easy to see who is an actual star and who's just there driving a race car. And those two people are stars. They should have the best thing that they can have on the track, and both of them are being left completely screwed. I mean, Noah's been tossed around to what, 3 different rides now? I don't even know how many different rides.
3.
In 3 different rides in 4 years or whatever the hell it's been. It's the saddest thing. He came out of Junior Motorsports, the biggest driver in NASCAR, 100%, and should have been treated as such. Because he still has that personality. He still has that fan following, and yet we're still not doing anything about it. We're all jumping up and down for Cletus and acting like that's a huge thing, but yet we're not doing that for our own drivers that are very few in the sport that we have. We need to be doing that for. Connor's another one. Connor should be giving everything that he needs to be the biggest star in the sport. He is 100% the best driver we have out there. He's better than Kyle Larson. He's better than all the rest of them when it
He
comes to
has
his
ceiling.
potential to
His
go
ceiling, yeah.
further on. So he needs to be given more. It's unfortunate we have a driver that's that good out here feeling that way, and that's 100% on Trackhouse. I mean, Ross, they did this to Ross. Ross was another huge personality that they let Hendrick come in and stomp on him and put him in his place and do all these things for no reason. It didn't help anything. It took the fun out of Ross, and now Ross is out there running 27th. Woo. So what we're doing is it's not helping anybody. Yes, Ryan Blaney's great. Yes, Kyle Larson's great. Yes, Denny Hamlin's great. But none of those three guys bring a personality that anybody cares about. If we care about our sport, we need to get these guys in the best rides we can get them in.
Yeah, I agree with a lot with a lot of what you said. I remember when Gregson was coming out, everybody thought he had the best personality. He was one of the best young prospects in our sport, and that's one of the problems too with the Cup Series right now is it's kind of hard for a lot of these drivers that to really get into a quality ride because a lot of the quality rides are just taken up year after. Only so many. There's only so many quality rides, and I like to use the Ty Gibbs example pretty well here because even Ty Gibbs, a driver, and I've seen it, and I think we've all been pretty harsh on Ty Gibbs, but even I would have to admit the things I've seen on social media for Ty Gibbs over the last, I don't know, like 9 or 10 months, I would say, or it's pretty distasteful because I see things like, oh, Ty Gibbs, if he wasn't a Gibbs, he'd be flipping burgers and he'd be doing this and he'd be doing that, and it's like, dude, he won his first ever Xfinity Series race. In his first ever start, he won on a road course, Daytona road course, for Pete's sake. He won his first ever race, and he kicked ass in the Xfinity Series. And when he got to the Cup Series, he struggled. You know why? Because the Cup Series is hard. Look at Joey Logano. Joey Logano was ass cheeks. Joey Logano was the best young prospect NASCAR has probably ever seen up until maybe Connor Zilisch. They call him the best thing since sliced bread. When he got to the Cup Series and he got to Joe Gibbs Racing, he was running 30th in points. He was running 35th every single week. And he won only one race at Joe Gibbs Racing on legitimate skill at Pocono. And then, of course, his first career win came because of rain at New Hampshire for Joey Logano. So he's another example as well. No matter how good you are, if you're not confident in yourself, you're going to lose a couple of tenths right there, and a couple of tenths has you go from 5th to 30th. That's just how it is. And Trackhouse obviously isn't doing Connor Zilisch any favors right now either because they're just not. They haven't been very good. They haven't been very good as a race team. I really like the way Trackhouse has ran for the most part, and I really like their style and this and that, but they just don't have the speed right now. Cory, what are your thoughts on this Connor Zilisch situation, on him just being really down on himself?
I think a lot of it, I think the expectations were too high, not for his career, but for year one.
For
And
year
I
one,
think
I
I
agree.
talked about it a little bit last year because I didn't say he was going to have a bad year, but I said that I wish he would have got some truck series opportunities because being good in the truck series like Corey Heim, I think is going to
Pay off.
flow better into pay off better in a Cup Series ride because they drive similar. Versus the Xfinity car, sorry, oh my God, the O'Reilly car is in its own different world. It's the most fun to watch, and it's also way different than Sunday, which is why Sunday's sometimes very hard to watch. And him having zero truck experience and then jumping into the Cup ride kind of capped his potential this year just because it's going to be a learning experience at short tracks, at mile and a halves, at super speedways. He's going to have to learn the car. And I think the only racetrack where we're confident he's going to finish well this year is the road courses. Like he's just one of the best ever one of the best in the series at road courses. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, and then Kyle, you kind of hit what I was going to say, is that he needs to have somebody in his corner saying, everybody went through this. Everybody went through this. No one went year one, I'm the best in the world. I'm winning multiple races on Sunday. I'm like Kyle Larson wasn't considered the best driver in the world until he was with Hendrick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like everyone just went straight to the moon on Sunday and were winning races multiple in their first year or two. So I think a lot of it's the fans and us knowing his talent that we just need to temper expectations and then see him get a top 15 where he deserves it running it good at Kansas, then a top 10, then a top 5. Do what Ty Gibbs did. Ty Gibbs year 1, we were like, wow, that's kind of a disappointment because he's in the best equipment. And then this year, he's just been consistent and got to win. Like I'm more. I hope he has somebody in his corners like that is cheering him up and saw that interview and said like all of us went through it. It's not just you. And hopefully he takes that and he keeps his personality and we're gonna. I still say we're gonna see him win one this year. I think he
I
has
agree.
to win a road course this year. It's gonna happen.
He will.
But I hate to see that interview where he's bashing himself and losing confidence. The only other thing I will say is he needs to learn how to celebrate because he needs to put that car in park when he's trying to get out of it. We
That
need to
shit freaked
remember,
me
like,
out.
he went from falling off the car to not putting it in park. He's going backwards, guys. He needs to learn how to celebrate again.
He doesn't. He doesn't know how to celebrate. That freaked me out. That freaked me out. I forgot to even mention that. He pops out the roof of the car, and the car just starts moving, and it looked like for a second there he was thinking about fuck it, I'm just gonna climb out anyway. That's what it looked like he was about to do. And then he was like, you know what, I probably should put it in park. Oh, he scares me. He scares me when he celebrates. At this point I don't want him to celebrate. I just want him to celebrate from the car. I don't want him to get out of the car. Just drive the car to the next race. Or something like that. Like, geez.
Just get out of the car like a robot. You know what I mean? One move at a time.
They need to like extract him from the car. They need to put the jaws of life on him every time. They need to extract him from the car every single time he wins because he freaks me out with that. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Connor Zilic? Honestly, not showing a lot of confidence and being a little bit down on himself from the way he started this year. I think we've all had some really good points out there, and I would personally say out of all those drivers that we all kind of mentioned, like your Joey Logano's, your Ty Gibbs, your Reed Sorensens, your JJ Yaley's, all those drivers were at better teams than he's at right now, and I'd say Zilic is doing better right now than they were doing at this time in their career. So I don't think Zilic should be so down on himself and probably should get some better people maybe in his corner. I don't know if he has the best people in his corner right now, it sounds like. But let us know your thoughts in the comments.